What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Talking with Beers, episode 118, the Wednesday news. Now, today's episode, we're going to talk about the Olympics because that is starting on Friday. Plus, Calgary Flames have new arena renderings. We're going to look at those. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are using throwback uniforms for this upcoming season. But first, let's head into the MLB. What's going on, everybody? We are back. I know, 2 weeks off without any episodes. It's actually kind of surprising that I've gone this long without an episode. Glad you guys are back, though. If you haven't looked at the past two episodes, our past episodes have actually done very well on the YouTube channel. So I got to get myself back into it with some more content, more quality stuff. So hopefully this is getting back into it, get myself back into the swing of things. So welcome back to the podcast. Appreciate you guys joining back with us. But today we're starting off with the MLB. We'll start off with the new 2025 regular season stats and numbers and things like that. Then we'll get into a couple of roster moves, and we'll end it on some remaining schedules in the MLB. So let's start off with the 2025 regular season news. The LA Dodgers and Chicago Cubs will open up the regular season in Tokyo, Japan, March 18th and 19th. Happy birthday to me on that day. But we actually have mentioned this on the podcast probably about a month or two ago. We had this one on there, so that one did come true. So hats off to past me. But it seems to be pretty cool. I mean, Shohei is obviously Japanese. Seiya Suzuki, the Cubs is also Japanese, so you got a couple of those big Japanese players coming back home to play an MLB game. Plus, you got Yamamoto, a lot of other players that, unfortunately, I'm just not thinking on top of my head, playing back in Japan. So that's going to be very cool for those two franchises, plus their fan bases there too. Also, MLB have released a new rivalry weekend for the next season. This will feature matchups with geographical regions like New York versus New York or LA versus LA, or historical matchups like Boston versus Atlanta. This means everybody will have a rivalry matchup on May 16th, 17th, and 18th. That's a 3-game set on the weekend. But unfortunately, that leaves two teams without a true rivalry in between them. That is Seattle and San Diego. So I guess they're going to make their own rivalry with this new rivalry weekend. Should be pretty cool, though. I'm actually looking really forward to that. I always like watching, obviously I'm an Angel fan, so I like watching the Angels versus the Dodgers. Recently has not gone the Angels' way, so it's not very fun to watch, but I still always circle them on the calendar, always look forward to watching those games. So I'm looking forward to seeing this rivalry weekend with the Yankees versus the Mets, Red Sox versus the Braves, which I don't know if that's actually going to be a very good matchup. But San Diego and Seattle, unfortunately, are the only ones going to be left out in this one. So that's unfortunate for them, but everybody else is going to have a pretty awesome weekend with those matchups. And the last thing to bring up with next year, Atlanta will be getting the All-Star Game, which everybody already knows, but they have released the All-Star Game logo. Actually, not too bad. The A in the Atlanta hat is incorporated in this one with the A in the All-Star font, so that's pretty cool. The rest of it's kind of a little bit boring, but still pop up right there on the screen for you guys. It's okay. It's not bad. Cool little elements though of Atlanta there. And let's head into Tampa Bay news, where St. Petersburg City Council has approved a $1.3 billion new stadium for the Tampa Bay Rays. This is something that's been happening, or has been in the talks for a while. Tampa Bay's stadium is probably one of the worst in the league, if not the worst in the league, up there with Oakland, which unfortunately will not be there for much longer. But St. Petersburg has approved this. $1.3 billion for this beautiful stadium. It's going to look outstanding. I think it's going to be one of those that a lot of people are going to want to go to. So really good job. Hopefully everything does go smoothly and the Rays get the stadium as soon as possible. Let's get into roster moves. Start off with Johnny Cueto. He signs a minor league deal with the Angels. Toronto's Bo Bichette was placed on a 10-day IL with a right calf strain. Oakland's Jacob Wilson, who was just recently called up in his first game, got a base hit, nice base hit, as he was rounding third base on a later at bat. He pulled his hamstring, had to was not able to return, was pulled in that game. So a tough debut for Jacob Wilson. We do not know the extent of that injury, though. Atlanta Braves' Ozzie Albies was placed on the IL with a wrist injury. This is tough news for Ozzie, especially with that Atlanta Brave team really been buzzing. But Whit Merrifield, who was released, I think last week by the Phillies, has a new home. He's going to be signed with the Braves, and he is going to be taking his spot immediately. So look forward to Whit Merrifield filling in that role for Ozzie Albies. And the LA Dodgers have DFA'd James Paxton in order to call up pitcher the number 4 prospect, River Ryan. I'm not too sure about who River Ryan is, besides he is a young kid in the organization for the Dodgers. But James Paxton, 18 games on the season, 8-2 record, a 4.43 ERA with a whip and a 1.46. Very surprised to see him get DFA'd. I mean, I guess if you got to DFA anybody when it comes to pitching, maybe it's Paxton because he's the older guy. But I don't think he's going to be gone for much longer. I think another team's definitely going to pick him up. If they don't, I'd be surprised. Paxton has played pretty well. The last couple of outings, I don't think have been his best, but he definitely started off great. But with the Dodgers having to DFA him, to me, it seems like a lot of guys are getting healthy. Also hearing news that later this week, Tyler Glasnow will be reinstated off the IL and he will get a start this week. And then I think on Thursday, Clayton Kershaw will be getting a start, his first start of the season. So that's good news for the Dodgers. So look forward to that one. Even though James Paxton unfortunately did get the loose end of this one. So tough news for him. And the Dodgers looking forward to River Ryan though. All right, we'll wrap this one up with the toughest remaining schedule and the easiest remaining schedules exiting this All-Star weekend. So, All-Star week. So this is the first full week back with baseball. And the toughest schedules remaining, though, Boston has number 1, Tampa Bay number 2, Cleveland number 3, Colorado 4, Miami 5, Toronto 6. For all these teams, pretty much not existent. I don't think Boston's going to do too much. Toronto, Miami, Colorado, nothing too much. Tampa Bay, they're still in the hunt for playoffs. I think it's going to be really tough for them. Cleveland as well. They're looking really good in the AL Central. I think that they're going to make it out of the AL Central as division winners. But with having the remaining schedule being the toughest, it's going to be a very hard road for them. But I don't think it's going to be too bad for them. I think Cleveland's a really good squad this year. I think I did call that back in our original episode, which, by the way, I will be doing a reaction episode to that. I don't know when that's going to be, but I am going to go back, watch it, react to it on camera, and see what we thought about. A couple hot takes in there. I know there are maybe some stuff that we all ripped into each other for. I know I got ripped into Cleveland winning that division because I think I had Cleveland either winning the division or doing really well this year, and I know I got ripped into it. So going to go react to that. But Cleveland, I think it's going to be a tough road, but I don't think it's going to be impossible. I think they're still going to make playoffs, even though they had the third toughest schedule remaining in the MLB. With the easiest schedule, we got San Francisco actually having the easiest schedule remaining. Chicago Cubs, Atlanta Braves, New York Yankees, Detroit Tigers, and San Diego Padres are the easiest to 6 easiest schedules remaining. Okay, I mean, Atlanta, I don't think they need more help, but it looks like it's going to be pretty easy for them. The Yankees, they've been struggling really bad. Hopefully they get out of this really bad slump they're in, especially with the schedule that I guess we're seeing now. It's going to be pretty easy for them to try and get out of it, but if they can't get out of it, there's a lot of worry moving forward for the Yankees. Padres, they need something positive going their way, so maybe that will help. Detroit, I think they're done. Chicago, I don't see doing too much. And San Francisco, honestly, I don't think is going to do all that much. So Atlanta and New York definitely going to benefit big time with this. San Diego, potentially. All right, let's head to the NHL. Not a lot of news, but enough to make it a full category. Start off with a new hiring for head coach. Columbus Blue Jackets pick up Dean Everson as their new head coach, signed to a multi-year contract. That is all the information we know. We do not know how long that is or the money value, but Dean Everson will be the new head coach for the Jackets. Colorado Avalanche are looking to extend a long-term deal with Mikko Rantanen. 7 to 8 years is the rumor right now. Kind of surprised when I heard this news that it's not done already, but that means there's probably a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we don't know. But Mikko Rantanen, one of the best underrated players, I think, in the league. Definitely on this Colorado roster. He's not even one of the best players, but he puts up amazing amount of points. So I would think the 7 to 8 years is definitely going to be worth it, especially with that salary cap getting bumped up. I don't think it's going to cost him too much, but it's going to be a pretty hefty number. But I think it's going to be definitely worth it for Rantanen. And lastly, as we said at the top of the show, the Flames are getting a new arena. We got a bunch of new pictures and renderings of this new quote-unquote Scotia Place. This is going to take an 18,000 seat arena in place of the Scotiabank Saddle Dome, which was built back in 1983. It's been host to the Flames ever since. Unfortunately, once this new building, the Scotia Place, will be put into existence, once that is completely done and the Flames move in, the Scotiabank Saddle Dome will be demolished, which is actually tough news. It's one of the oldest arenas in the NHL outside, I think, the Bell Center, and potentially, Rogers Place is gone. So I think Scotiabank's got to be 2 or 3 at the oldest arenas in the NHL. So a lot of history there. Kind of sad, but Flames definitely need it. I've heard a lot of bad things when it comes to this arena. That is old, it's worn down. You hear it from visiting locker rooms, you hear it from even the home locker rooms. Not a great place to have a hockey arena, but the Flame fans, they definitely love their team, and it's definitely a good location for the team. So they're not really going to move too far from that, of what I've heard. But hopefully this arena will be ready in the 2027-28 season. So we got maybe 2 more years of the Saddle Dome, potentially. So hopefully, if you guys are Flame fans, or you just want to go cross off your bucket list, go check that out as soon as possible. All right, let's head to the Olympics. Yes, the Olympics, Summer Olympics out in Paris this year in 2024. It's the Summer Olympics. Opening ceremonies will start on Friday. I believe that is 10:30 in the morning for us. Everything will be on Peacock streaming. Plus, if you have just normal TV, it will be on the USA Network and NBC Sports. I don't know what else properties there are, but I remember those 3 for sure. So anything NBC related or Peacock related, the Olympics will be on there. Plus, the opening ceremonies will be on Peacock as well on Friday morning. But games do start on Wednesday, and that includes men's soccer. So yes, men's soccer, is this like a World Cup? Not exactly. So I'm looking forward to men's soccer. I enjoy soccer a lot. Obviously, we talk about soccer once in a while on this podcast. But the little thing with this, to make it different from the World Cup, is FIFA has said that you cannot have anybody over 23 years old on your roster. You get 3 wildcard spots. That is for anybody that has to be, I guess, from the country. But you can be older than 23. So only 3 wildcard spots. You don't even have to use those wildcard spots, but obviously a lot of teams do use it. So we don't see a lot of big name players out here, but it's mainly almost an evaluation. I mean, you see this as like a young kid's dream. I mean, you get to put your country's crest on your chest, and you go out there and play the game you love. So I think it's fun to watch. It's going to be a little bit different, obviously. Same rules, though, as normal soccer. Nothing too out of the blue or crazy. I don't think VAR will be in this, so I think that is a FIFA Federation thing, plus with all the individual leagues. So I don't know what the Olympics and that committee has taken VAR into their thing, but that will be something that we'll see on day 1, which is Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. with Spain versus Uzbekistan and Argentina versus Morocco, which is one of the highlighted names or teams that I think it might be actually pretty fun to watch. Argentina is going to have Julian Alvarez, who is on their normal roster for the Argentinian team, who just came off that Copa America win. So I think that's going to be actually a pretty good game. Am I going to wake up at 6 a.m. to watch it? Probably not. I think they should take care of Morocco, but if you are up and you want to tune in, I think that's going to be a pretty solid game for Argentina. Good evaluation game for them. We got a couple games at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., plus 12 p.m., where we have France versus the United States. Now, with the U.S., what do I expect for them? I don't know. I think the U.S. have a lot of, again, don't want to beat this with the broom too much, but a lot of evaluation to go into this one. There's the kind of thing where we just saw what they did in the Copa America. They did not look good at all. Now they need a new head coach, and they have no future. To me, I don't think they have any future when it comes to any big name stars. And when it comes to that, I think this is a great way to see where your next big stars are going to come out. Is it going to come out of this team that we have out there for the Olympics right now? Is it somewhere in the MLS? Is it somewhere overseas that we haven't seen before? I don't know, but I think this is a good way to see that, hey, maybe our best young up-and-coming star is on this Olympic team, and maybe he is ready to be on that team right now going into the 2026 World Cup. So I think that's also something I'm going to be looking mainly for when it comes to the U.S. team, but it's a lot to take in. I'm just hoping for better games compared to the Copas, which I was very disappointed in. Was not excited to watch any of those games, even though before the games I were excited to watch. But once the game started, those games were atrocious and they were really hard to watch. So I'm going into these games very excited. I'm definitely watching that France game, 12 o'clock. That's lunchtime for everybody. That will be on the USA Network against France. Then they'll play on the 27th at 10 a.m. on the USA Network again against New Zealand. And then they'll play against Guinea 10 a.m. on the USA Network once again. So their group stages is almost done pretty soon. So if you're going to check out any of those games, I think the France game is going to be the most entertaining one out of all the three. I think New Zealand could also be a really good one, but New Guinea should not be too big of a problem. But I think the U.S. have a lot to take in with this game. And we'll move on to Thursday, which is even before the opening ceremonies. Again, we have more events going on. We have women's soccer. So women's soccer obviously is a lot like the World Cup in this one, unlike the men's. Where the men's, you had those wild card, those 3 spots where you could have 3 players over the age of 23 on your team. With the women's, it is another World Cup for them. You look at the rosters, you look at the teams, some really big house or big named teams, USA, Germany, Spain, Japan, a lot of big name teams there. But then you also get teams like Nigeria, who's not all that great. Zambia, Colombia, not 2 big powerhouse teams, but hey, it gives them a good chance to get their name on the map when it comes to the FIFA rankings and stuff like that, and up-and-coming stars for those nations. But when you look at the U.S., very normal roster. We got a new head coach coming in. She was also the head coach of Chelsea's women's team. Last couple of years, had a lot of great success over there overseas with them. So she's coming in with a lot of evaluations to get done. This will be her first really big competition because a lot of the friendlies weren't all that great. I mean, they played against Costa Rica, did not look good, 0-0 draw in the very last games leading up to it. But overall, these are where it's going to be a lot of evaluations, a lot of note-taking. They start off against Zambia on the 25th, 12 p.m. on the USA Network. Then they have Germany. That's going to be a very tough matchup. I think Germany's going to be really good. That's going to be on the 28th at noon on the USA Network. And they ended on Australia on the 31st, 10 a.m. on the USA Network. So I think 3 really good matchups. Zambia should be the cakewalk one of this one, but a good challenge against Germany. I really want to look forward to that one. And then also with Australia, a lot of good stuff could come out of that, or a lot of bad stuff could come out of that. So I think a lot of things to take notes of, and it should be an entertaining soccer matchup for the U.S. men's and women's teams. So even though the men's and women's soccer might be the only thing starting, that is not the case. We also got, on Wednesday, we got men's rugby 7. Thursday, we also got rugby 7 and women's handball and women's archery starting on Thursday. Plus, nothing on Friday because open ceremonies. And then Saturday and Sunday, we got a boatload of stuff. I will pop up something right now. That's the schedule for the whole weekend. So you got, on the left side, you got Wednesday, Thursday, and on the middle and right side, you got Saturday and Sunday, all the events that will be played during those 2 days. I didn't include any times, didn't include anything just the events. If you want to go check that out, I'll leave a link down below for the Olympic schedule, and you guys go check out that. It'll add times. I think the only thing will be network will not be on there, but everything is streaming live on Peacock. So if you have Peacock, go check out that. That'll probably be the easiest way to watch the Olympics this year. But a lot to look forward to. What am I looking forward to? Of course, soccer. We just talked about it. Men's basketball. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. They're calling this potentially a dream team with LeBron, Steph, Anthony Davis, all those guys. I think it's going to be really fun to watch. Not 100% confident that's going to be gold, but I'd be very surprised if they don't even make it to that gold matchup. You look at the schedule against Serbia on July 28th, 8:15 in the morning on NBC. South Sudan, who they really struggled against the other day, on July 31st, 12 p.m. on the USA Network. And Puerto Rico, August 3rd, 8:15 in the morning on NBC Network. So they got some really good matchups. Serbia, I think, is going to be the best matchup against those guys. Puerto Rico should be a cakewalk. South Sudan, I'm actually looking really forward to because of what they did against the U.S. the other day. Even though, yeah, they lost, the U.S. should not have won that game. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they're going to adjust from those friendlies into Olympic play. So that's going to be something to look forward to with that. A couple other things I'm looking forward to. 100-meter sprints. I think they're actually really cool. You just go in a straight line as fast as possible. Same with the swimming. I think the swimming events is really entertaining to watch. So those are two things there. Golf, I'm interested to see how the format's going to work. I don't remember watching it last time in the 2020 Olympics. Could have been there, but I don't remember watching it at all. So I'm looking forward to watching that. Handball, if you like soccer or hockey or a little bit of mix of both, that's actually a really good entertaining game to watch. I don't know a lot of the rules, but it is like a mixture of soccer, hockey, maybe even a little bit of lacrosse there. Should be fun to watch. Don't know any of the players, don't know who's good and who's bad, but might tune in a little bit to watch a little bit of handball there. Swimming events, always good. Tennis, I think because of what we're going to talk about later in this, I'm going to be tuning into tennis a little bit more. And lastly, volleyball. I think volleyball is pretty entertaining. I watch it at college. I watch it at high school level. I think it's all pretty fun to watch. So volleyball, men's, women's, and beach volleyball all seem to be pretty entertaining there. So those are a couple of events that I think will be entertaining. Hopefully you guys will check out something. We've got 2 weeks of this. Closing ceremonies will be on August 11th. So everything will be wrapping up super quick. But go check out Peacock or NBC channels for the Olympics. All right, let's head to the cleanup. We'll start off in Jacksonville, where the Jaguars are releasing throwback uniforms for this upcoming season. I think they only wear them once, and it's going to be exactly like their original franchise uniforms. Really awesome look. The black with the old school logo helmet on there, and then on the jerseys you got teal tops and bottoms with the old leaping Jaguar on the shoulders there. Looks really clean. I personally don't like them as much as the uniforms they have now, but as a throwback one-off game, I'm okay with them. I think they look fine, but I like the Jacksonville look they have now. I think the Jaguar looks better now. I like the modernized look of that. So hats off. I think a lot of fans did really like the old stuff and really wanted it, but personally, I think it's a good one-off, but I don't think full-time is necessary for these uniforms. Unfortunately, we have some bad news. Two-time Pro Bowler linebacker Shaquille Barrett announced his retirement from the football community. Wants to spend more time with the family, so I can't knock him for that. But Barrett, two-time Pro Bowler, is hanging him up. Cole Custard of NASCAR announced that he will be driving the 41 car next year for Haas Factory Team in 2025. He is driver of the 41 car right now, so it's good news to hear he will stay with that car. Alabama football announced that they are renaming their football field from Bryant-Denny Field to Saban Field. Obviously, if you guys know college football, Nick Saban is a legend, a GOAT, if you want to throw that name out there as well. I would say he's probably one of the best head coaches that I've ever witnessed in my timeline. Obviously, there's a lot of college football has been around forever, and there's a lot of good head coaches out there, but Nick Saban's got to be one of the top, if not the top, with how successful he was at Alabama. So for him to get the name of the field after another legendary Bear Bryant head coach there is got to be just a great honor, and then also a great legacy left behind for the next head coaches to follow him. So I feel bad for the following head coach, Kalen DeBoer. but I think Alabama fans definitely think this is well-deserved. Saban Field will be the new home of the Alabama football team. Mexico Soccer Federation announced last week that they fired their head coach a little bit later than I expected. Usually they're a lot quicker on these decisions, but they have already announced their replacement. Javier Aguirre will be the new manager of the team. Plus, they also have named ex-Mexico captain Rafa Marquez as the assistant. Rafa Marquez actually, surprisingly, was used to be one of my favorite players on this Mexican team. Him and Chicharito have always been the top players when it comes to World Cup and watching Mexico. And then obviously you got to love Ochoa as well. But Marquez being that big guy, defenseman, captain of the team, he's got to be the figurehead of that squad. So I definitely remember his name. Very excited to see he is back in the Federation and as an assistant. But they also announced that the intention is to have Rafa become the manager of the team in 2026. I would think before the World Cup. If that's the case, that's awesome. Would love to see him as the manager of this team. I think he's going to do a great job. Now, will Mexico have enough firepower to get a successful outing out of the World Cup? I don't know. I think they're in the same boat as the U.S., where I don't think they are looking very good. They did not have a good showing at the Copas. They did not have a very good head coach there, so they got rid of him. They don't really have a lot of a future behind them either. I think Mexico used to be a very big powerhouse. Looking into the future now, I don't think that's going to be the case, which is unfortunate to say because I don't mind rooting for Mexico when it comes to them not playing the U.S. So it's going to be interesting. Rafa Marquez, assistant, intended to be the manager in the future. So I'm looking forward to see what happens there. Curious on how well these two, Aguirre and Marquez, will be able to get this squad ready for the World Cup. And lastly, we got three-time Grand Slam champion Andy Murray announcing that he will retire after the Olympics. 19 years in the world of tennis. He will play his last tournament this Olympics, which is why it goes back to the tennis part of something I'm looking forward to. I'm going to be watching this. I think Andy Murray, I'm not a big tennis guy, but big enough name for me to know that I might watch one or two matches with him, maybe at the very least catch his last one, but definitely try and watch at least one of his matches if this is going to be his last time out on a tennis court. So congrats to you on an awesome career. Definitely a big name in the world of tennis. All right, games of the weekend. We'll start off with the MLB. We got the Guardians versus the Phillies, 3-game set there. For the Olympics, Saturday, men's soccer, USA versus New Zealand. Also a lot of other stuff there, so there was too much to choose. This is just something I'm looking forward to on Saturday. Plus, Sunday, we got women's soccer, USA versus Germany, and men's basketball, USA versus Serbia. USA versus Serbia might be a little bit better on the edge, but USA versus Germany, really good matchup, depending on how the U.S. do in their first game against Zambia. Formula 1, we got the Rolex Belgian Grand Prix. That's on Sunday at 6 a.m. on ESPN. And for MLS soccer, we got Miami versus Cincinnati, a battle of the top two teams in the Eastern Conference on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. All right, guys, that will do it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening. 118 episodes in the books. We got a lot of stuff planned for the future of this channel. Obviously, we're going to keep bumping out these Wednesday news episodes. And we got a very cool, don't want to announce it too much, 4-episode set of things coming out. Don't want to say too much because I want to keep it a surprise. But make sure you guys keep on checking out the Instagram because we're going to post news about that and when those episodes will release. Those will be YouTube exclusive. So you guys are listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Check out the YouTube channel because those will be only on YouTube just because of the way the format's going to work. I don't think it's going to translate well to Spotify and listening only. So make sure you guys go check out the YouTube channel and vice versa. If you guys are on the YouTube channel, go give us a like and rate the channel on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Helps the channel grow, helps the podcast reach a bigger audience, makes these episodes much easier and way more fun to make. But I appreciate you guys tuning in this one. Have an awesome weekend. Check out some Olympic events, and we'll see you guys later.